of putting up a facility that's at par with global standards.
The Tagum City Library, formerly the Tagum Municipal Library, was created in 1994. It became fully functional in the year 1996. This special project was initiated by then Municipal Mayor Victorio R. Suaybagyo Jr. At that time, the said library had an area of 90 square meters. The cost of the construction of the said building, which amounted to 480,000 pesos, was taken from the local funds of the municipality of Tagum.
Prior to its impressive metamorphosis into the library it is today, the Tagum City Library started with humble beginnings. With a small floor area, the then municipal library caters patrons from nearby schools and the general public as well. It has become a favorite spot for those who seek to expand their knowledge, as well as to update themselves with the latest news in the Philippines and in abroad. In other words, the humble library truly served its purpose.
In 1999, I took lead in ushering the Tagum City Library and Learning Commons to greater heights. I became the library's first registered librarian to be hired of the small but very useful library. With calculation in mind, I'm already 22 years in service in pursuing meaningful library services for Tagumeños.
The official family of the City Library, then attached to the Municipal and City Information Office respectively, had grown throughout the years in response to the growing demand of the public for a more efficient and more effective library services. Currently, the Tagum City Library and Learning Commons employs 10 library staff, which caters the need of library patrons even at the time of the pandemic. During pre-COVID times, the facility caters an approximate number of 3,500 patrons monthly, mostly student researchers and those reviewing for various board examinations. Even at the time of the pandemic, the library still caters a sizable crowd, averaging to 2,491 patrons per quarter.
Throughout these years, we are glad of the amazing support our library got from the different sectors, most notably the National Library of the Philippines, various government organizations, and the private sectors.
Annually, the city government of Tagum allocates an average of 500,000 for the sustained operations of the city library. Said amount is used to purchase books based on the actual needs of its clients.
We cannot thank enough Mayor Alan L. Rillion for dreaming of bigger, spacious, and functional city library.
This library but the start of yet another journey for us towards the fulfillment of this dream. I am confident we shall make it happen.
In its third phase, Mayor Alan Rillion continued to improve and add more services. The city library became bigger and bolder and was tagged as Tagum City Library and Learning Commons. It is now under a new department, the City Historical and Cultural Office. Now sporting a modern look at par with global standards, the Tagum City Library and Learning Commons is just now among the various star facilities of the Tagum City Historical and Cultural Center, namely the Cagican Museum, the 1,000-seater Tagumpay Theater, and the Centro Rizal. Located at the heart of the city, the library's inclusion in this array of facilities targeting the academe and the general public is a testament to the premium given by the city government of Tagum in advancing knowledge propagation and management, as well as pursuing a bold and meaningful cultural and historical agenda. The City Library and Learning Commons plays a significant role towards its realization.
As it is already a dream fulfilled, so it is time to dream another and that is to make this space as vibrant as its colors. Now that the facilities are in place, the need for it to be relevant beyond its corners is on the pipeline.
Among the programs that the Tagum City Library and Learning Commons will implement once the COVID-19 situation will ease are the following: organization of a local book lovers club, regular monthly storytelling sessions featuring indigenous local stories, observance of the National Book Month celebration, improvement of the digital services of the City Library, operationalization of the Center for Tagomenyo Studies, and the provision of book mobile libraries to make the services of the Tagum City Library accessible to our constituents, especially in the far-flung barangays.
We can't wait for this pandemic to end so that we can fully realize our library's full potential.
Like many Tagumeños, I am excited for this facility to be used as a wide range of patrons whose love for reading and pursuit of knowledge have helped shape our intellectual discourse.
This is the Tagum City Library and Learning Commons, undeniably one of the exciting public libraries in the Philippines today. A venue for learning, mixing both aesthetics and purpose, and ensuring the thirst for knowledge is quenched.
Welcome to Tagum City Library and Learning Commons. Tara na, let's take you to a tour.
Quezon City Public Library was established on August 16, 1948 and was inaugurated on October 23 of the same year with no other than the First Lady Aurora A. Quezon as the guest of honor and who cut the ceremonial ribbon. The City Library was first housed at the old Quezon City Hall building, which was then located at EDSA near Ramon Magsaysay High School in Cubao. 1982, a separate library building at the back of the Quezon City Hall Civic Center was constructed and was inaugurated on August 16, 1983. In 2016, a new modern 3-story library building was constructed and was inaugurated on February 6, 2017, attended by Quezon City officials. This library building was one of the many projects of the administration of then Honorable Mayor Herbert Bautista and then Honorable Vice Mayor Joy Belmonte, who is now the incumbent city mayor. The QCPL started with 4,000 volumes of books donated by the National Library of the Philippines with only 4 personnel to serve the public. As of 2020, QCPL has 84,458 volumes of books with a total of 177 personnel, 67 of which are plantilla positions, with 26 licensed librarians and 15 civil service eligible, as well as 110 contractual to serve our clients. Before the pandemic, QCPL's daily users ranges from 150 to 200, most of which are students from the public and private schools. They are preparatory, elementary, junior high school, senior high school, and college. Also, professionals, out-of-school youth, senior citizens, persons with disabilities, reviewees, and others. Now, with the new normal situation, the QCPL continued to serve the public through online appointments and by sharing educational information through social media. The QCPL and its branches usually conducts various programs and activities in partnership with different city and barangay officials, private individuals, government agencies like National Bureau of Investigation, Quezon City Schools Division Office, Quezon City Education Affairs Unit, and private organizations like Regalo Touching Lives, DLSU CSB, Room to Read, and Filipino or Philippine Sign Language. The QCPL and staff are working hand in hand to continuously meet our desire to upgrade facilities in order to give the library users a place that is conducive for learning, most of which has materialized through the support of the local government of Quezon City. The Quezon City LGU allocates a total budget of 131,286,748 for the QCPL's plans and programs for fiscal year 2020. Presently, the QCPL has a budget allocation of 98,267,323, which is a decrease of 25% from the previous year's allocation due to the government's priority to fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The challenges encountered by QCPL and strategies applied to overcome them. In spite of budget constraints, QCPL still managed to sustain its projects and activities through partnership with the private individuals and government organizations. During the pandemic, we have experienced various issues with regards to our operations, like how can we continue serving the public despite the government's order for the closure of establishments, which includes libraries? Since people movement are restricted and to protect the health of our staff, the users as well, we came up with an idea to share educational information through social media. The government ordered the closure of establishments, including libraries. But still, there are users who are very insistent in doing their research in the library. specifically the professionals. So, we come up with a plan to have an online appointment and accommodate a very limited number of users to protect health of the staff and the users as well. Once the user requested for an appointment, our rules and regulations being implemented during the new normal is being discussed to make sure that proper health protocols are being observed on the approved date of the appointment. One of the programs of QCPL during the new normal situation is online storytelling. In order to cater to our hearing-impaired clients, we are planning to have an inset of sign language interpretation during its implementation. Before opening our services to the public, the QCPL officials and staff made sure proper health protocols are being observed. Markers and signages are properly installed. Alcohol dispensers are placed in strategic locations, particularly at the entrance. Temperature and contact information of the users are properly logged. RFID are installed within the vicinity of QCPL for monitoring and safeguarding of book collections. The QCPL and its branches is conducting a community book pantry in different barangays of Quezon City to continuously promote our services. This project is in coordination with the city and barangay officials. The QCPL is also planning to launch the local history website that houses all digital local history collections the soonest time possible. One of the programs of QCPL is the virtual conduct of workshops on puppetry and basic computer literacy program, which will accommodate our children and adult clients. This program aims to help our clients to provide knowledge and enhance their skills, which will eventually be of help to support their living. The QCPL's programs and activities would not be possible without the support of our stakeholders like sponsorship of prize and materials in storytelling contests, art contests, and other educational video contests, the conduct of community pantry, parenting, technological and environmental webinars, conduct of storytelling sessions, and virtual mobile and other library activities. In our new normal situation, we have to think of marketing and promotional strategies to promote our services. So, we have come up with the use of the following media to inform our clients of the library activities and programs, namely, social media through QCPL Facebook page, QCPL website, newsletter, bookingan, or a virtual talk show for Quezon City School and Public Librarians, brochure, and QCPL manual. Despite QCPL's achievements, we are still aiming to give the best service to our clients. Thus, we are planning for the following projects to be implemented in the near future, such as development construction of a sustainable rooftop garden at the QCPL main building in partnership with the Sustainable Development Affairs Unit under the Office of the City Mayor. Construction of Children's Park and Garden at the Project 8 Branch Library. Launching of Book Panda or Lala Book. The concept of this project is to bring the books or materials needed by the children living in the remote areas like esteros and alleys using bikes. This project will be implemented in partnership with the city and barangay officials. Development of an e-resources pathfinder for QCPL publications. Automation of circulation process. Update of the QCPL manual, the new normal, and provision of a learning space wherein a small group discussion will be allowed. We have many historical places in Quezon City. So, if you are in Quezon City, we proudly invite you to visit some of these places. Cry of Balintawak. A group of Katipuneros led by Gat Andres Bonifacio tore their cedulas or community tax certificates to symbolize the termination of their loyalty to the Spaniards This place is located at Cloverleaf, A. Bonifacio Corner, EDSA, in Balintawak. Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo. This is the headquarters of the military forces of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, located along EDSA in front of the Philippine National Police headquarters. This was named after the first Philippine President, Emilio Aguinaldo. Camp Rafael T. Crame. This is the national headquarters of the Philippine National Police, located in front of Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo. It was named after the first Filipino Chief of the Philippine Constabulary, Rafael T. Crame. 11th World Scout Jamboree Memorial Rotonda. This monument is located along Timog Avenue, which is also known as the Boy Scout Circle. It commemorates the death of the 24-member Philippine delegation to the 11th World Scout Jamboree in India. They were among the passengers of United Arab Airlines Flight 869 that crashed on July 28, 1963 in the Arabian Sea. Quezon Memorial Circle. This is a 27-hectare park which housed the Quezon Memorial Shrine, a museum that features the relics and memorabilia of then President Manuel L. Quezon and his wife, Aurora A. Quezon. Presidential Car Museum, a collection of presidential cars of the Philippine presidents. Heritage House, a reconstructed version of President Manuel L. Quezon family's house in New Manila. People can also enjoy amusement rides, shopping, and dining at this place where sumptuous food is being served in some of the famous establishments inside the park. EDSA People Power Monument. This is located at the junction of White Plains Avenue along EDSA. It commemorates the People Power Revolution in 1986. EDSA Shrine. It is the Shrine of Mary, Queen of Peace, Our Lady of EDSA, located at the intersection of Ortigas Avenue and EDSA. It also commemorates the 1986 People Power Revolution. Tandang Sora Shrine. It is a national shrine located at Banlat Road, Tandang Sora, dedicated to Filipino revolutionary Melchora Aquino, known as Tandang Sora, who offered shelter and medical aid to Katipuneros despite her old age. General Geronimo Park. This monument can be found at the General Villamor Street, Barangay Bagong Silangan. This signifies the Battle of San Mateo, where General Henry Ware Lawton met his fatal death on December 19, 1899 in the hands of the Katipuneros led by General Licerio Geronimo. People who visit Quezon City can also enjoy in celebrating some of the city's historical events. UP Lantern Parade. It is an annual lantern parade at UP Diliman, paying homage to the old Christmas tradition of carrying lanterns to light the way to the Misa de Gallo. Pedrista Festival. It is an annual celebration in honor of San Pedro Bautista, a Spanish Franciscan missionary who came to the Philippines in 1584 and founder of Santuario de San Pedro Bautista, located along Del Monte Avenue, the oldest church in Quezon City, having been established in 1590. La Naval de Manila. An annual procession every second Sunday of October is being held in honor of Our Lady of La Naval de Manila, housed at the Santo Domingo Church located along Quezon Avenue. Amidst the pandemic, Quezon City Public Library will continue to provide excellent services to its clients and contribute to the upliftment of librarians and to the library profession. Thank you for your time and attention and for giving us the privilege to share our present and future plans and programs. God bless and stay safe, everyone.
The 102 years old Ilocos Norte Provincial Library was established on April 1919, making it the third branch of the National Library of the Philippines. Through former Representative Vicente Llanes and Governor Florencio Castro, equal access to information, knowledge, and education became possible for all Ilocanos. Eventually, this led to the foundation of local public libraries in Ilocos Norte. Unfortunately, during the World War II, the INPL book collections were burned down in 1983. To rehabilitate and modernize the Rec Library, then, Governor and now Senator Amy R. Marcos introduced the iHub concept in 2014, which combines a cozy reading center with reliable internet connection. With nearly 30 iHub centers in public schools, Ilocos Norte's public libraries have seen technological breakthroughs and automation. At present, we are still grounded by the Republic Act 7743, an act providing for the establishment of congressional, city, and municipal libraries and barangay reading centers throughout the Philippines. With our goal of improving on-site services and increasing community reading, here are among the best practices of the Ilocos Norte Provincial Library. Improving on-site services. The Ilocos Norte Provincial Library has redesigned the library space for a more structured and maximized area with Wi-Fi connection for a conducive online class venue. Local history materials were also digitized, computer servers were installed for the Koha library system and Technoklatan Digital Library, and more databases were acquired, making Ilocos Norte Provincial Library the only public library in Ilocos Norte with Starbook kiosk by the Department of Science and Technology. Encouraging community reading. With our goal of encouraging more Ilocanos to be involved in community reading, the Ilocos Norte Provincial Library established pop-up libraries, open house activities that awaken the children's interest on books, reading, and libraries. Outreach programs and book distributions and online storytelling. Users and stakeholders engagement in INPL activities. Through our valuable partners, the National Library of the Philippines, Book Asia Foundation, the Department of Science and Technology, the Department of Information Communication Technology, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Person with Disability Affairs, local authors and publishers, and the entire Ilocano community. We were able to aid learners to access educational materials, provided various technological assistance, and other quality services to Ilocanos throughout the province. Marketing and promotional activities. The Ilocos Norte Provincial Library remains relentless to keeping in touch with Ilocanos, especially during this time of the pandemic. A monthly accomplishment record of the library newsletter called INPL Newslet are being distributed alongside flyers throughout the province. Social media platforms are also being utilized to continue promoting the activities and latest services of the Ilocos Norte Provincial Library. INPL envisions a future wherein public libraries could further develop a conducive learning environment for Ilocanos. Hence, we will continue to assist in the establishment of more community-based libraries and reading centers, as well as the construction of a state-of-the-art public library building in Ilocos Norte.
quite like this.
First of all, my warm greetings and thanks to the National Library of the Philippines, headed by Director Cesar Gilbert Adriano, and to all NLP Public Library Division, librarians and staff, led by Ms. Blesila Velasco, Yesenia Romero, Chair of Virtual Tour Committee, ASEAN Public Libraries Information Network, Philippine Librarians Association Incorporated, Librarians Association of Malaysia, and the Asia Foundation for inviting me as one of the sharers of Virtual Library Tour and Cultural Presentation in the first ASEAN Virtual Regional Conference of Public Librarians. I'm Justina Garcia, Provincial Librarian, and it is an honor to share with you the Laguna Provincial Library. The library was established in 1955 under the leadership of Governor Dominador E. Chipeco Sr. It was located first at the corner lobby of Santa Cruz Laguna Municipal Hall. Having no officially owned building, the Provincial Library was relocated several times into different institutions of the provincial government of Laguna until 1987. In the year 2020, through the leadership of Honorable Governor Ramil L. Hernandez, the Laguna Provincial Library was included in his priorities and provides a two-story building near the provincial capital of Laguna. It was officially opened last November 9, 2020. This is a two-story building, but for now, we temporarily occupy the second floor area under the Phase 1 renovation. LPL is not as good as other public libraries in terms of building and facilities, but now having a permanent library building, this is the beginning of its development until the Phase 2 renovation will be completed. The Laguna Provincial Library is under the management of the provincial governor, and there are 12 staff assisting me to manage the 5 functional divisions of the library: the technical services, reader services, administrative services, program services, and instructional multimedia services division. LPL caters primarily the needs of the general public throughout the province. Our researchers consist of primary and secondary students of nearby schools, college students and teachers from different schools, colleges, and universities in Laguna, employees of the provincial government of Laguna and other LGUs, senior citizens, and outside researchers from other provinces. Now, since we are experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic, visitors are limited, But we are happy because there are still researchers come to the library and avail our physical services. LPL works hard with our partners, supporters, stakeholders to support the research and information needs of the users, as well as the programs of the library. Our appreciation to the National Library of the Philippines, National Commission for Culture and the Arts, Public Libraries Association of the Philippines, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Life, the Asia Foundation, Center for Art, New Ventures and Sustainable Development, Provincial Nutrition Action Office, and Mildred. The current total budget of the library is 5,292,077.94 centavos, including the personal services funded by the provincial government of Laguna. For the highlights, all public libraries are facing challenges to provide better services to clientele like budget, lack of staff, IT facilities, and others. For the LPL, our big challenge nowadays because of the pandemic is how to reach out or to communicate our information resources and services to our researchers. Though we created our official library website and our Facebook is actively sharing our updates on resources and activities, but not all our clientele has access to internet to connect with us. Additional to this is the exposure of staff and diagnosis positive to COVID-19 resulting to incapacitate the library service. Facing these challenges, I would like to share with you the LPL best practices to become functionally efficient even in this time of COVID-19 pandemic. First is communicating with members of each group what we have for them and how to access it. Giving great customer experiences and services, either physical or online visit. Collaboration and partnership with stakeholders, institutions, and other departments of the TGL to support the library plans programs by providing books or educational materials, active participation in our library activities, and sharing our library services with others. Next is active library programs and community outreach such as from actual visit to virtual book wagon mobile library for the sick children at the public hospitals, book wagon mobile library read and play outreach program for the remote areas. We provide educational materials like Read the Children's Story from Let's Read Asia, face shield and coloring materials for them. Online storytelling activities were also conducted for the general public through Facebook page. We provide library virtual reference service and remote seat services and resources by digital media such as library's Facebook page and web page. Digitization project, a project that includes converting objects and materials to a digital format to become accessible online. Last is continuous planning effective ways to promote and publicize library offerings and programs and become a fully technology-equipped library. The next part of my sharing is the cultural presentation about Laguna. Laguna is well heeled of cultural heritage which should make the researchers and tourists to become in love with the province. But because of the limited time for this sharing, I'll share with you the best highlights. For cultural dances, music and beliefs. First, cultural dance. Paglalatik was originally performed in Binyan, Laguna as a macwar dance that demonstrates a fight between the Moros and Christians over the price latik or coconut meat during the Spanish rule. This dance is also shown to pay tribute to the town's patron saint San Isidro Labrador. For the cultural music, we have the Laguna March. The hymn was sung by the officials and people of Laguna every Monday of the week to honor the province. Mr. Mario de Alojado is the composer of the Laguna March hymn. For the cultural belief, one famous belief is about Diwata named Maria Makiling, guardian of Mount Makiling in Laguna Province. Oral tradition described that Mount Makiling was once a castle and Maria Makiling was a princess who fell in love with a mortal. For the heritage tourist places, people and events, first we have the Rizal Shrine. The Rizal Shrine in Calamba is a reproduction of the house in Calamba, Laguna, where Dr. Jose Rizal, our national hero, was born on June 19, 1861 until he began his formal schooling in Binyan. Next is the town of Pila. The town of Pila is the location of some well-preserved houses from the Spanish era as well as the old parish church of St. Anthony de Padua, the first Anthony Church in the Philippines. Next is the old church with underground cemetery, a national historic landmark and a museum located at Barangay Bambang, Municipality of Nagcarlan, Laguna. The unique features of the cemetery are the chapel with underground chamber and its circular wall structure. Next is St. Mary Magdalene Parish Church in Magdalena, Laguna. It was built during the Spanish era using polo or forced labor. The stone church is dedicated to Mary Magdalene. The church was built in 1829. Next is Calamba. Calamba Clay Pot is a famous landmark in Calamba, Laguna, and claimed to be the world's largest clay pot. It is located in City Plaza, near the Church of Calamba and Rizal Shrine. Next is the Pagsanhan Falls. Pagsanhan Falls, also known as Cabinti Falls, is located at Cabinti Bridge, which stands approximately 300 feet. The highlight of this waterfall is the bamboo rock or balsa ride, which goes directly under and behind the falls, where there is a huge cave called Devil's Cave. Last is the Anilag Festival. It is short for Ani ng Laguna, meaning Harvest of Laguna, and commemorated every month of March to mark the foundation day of this region. It has evolved into a Thanksgiving rite that endeavors to present the products and tourist attractions that can be found exclusively in Laguna. People from Laguna gathering together during the Anilag Festival. Thank you for listening and watching to my virtual library tour and cultural presentation. God bless and stay safe.
Colleagues in the library profession, co-workers in the public library, ladies and gentlemen, good day. I'm Ria Marel Atimbal, Librarian 4 of the Quezon Provincial Library. First, I would like to congratulate our host, the National Library of the Philippines, our co-host, the ASEAN Public Libraries Information Network, our collaborators, the Philippine Librarians Association, Librarians Association of Malaysia, and the Asia Foundation for organizing the first ASEAN Virtual Regional Conference of Public Librarians with the theme ASEAN Libraries, Arts and Culture, Inspire, Innovate, and Collaborate. Thank you for inviting us to present our virtual library tour and cultural presentation. Formerly known as the Tayabas Branch Library, it was organized during the early part of 1929 by the chief of the provincial branches, Mr. Jose Munda. It was inaugurated on February 28, 1929, with the provincial governor Leon G. Ginto and the late director Eulogio B. Rodriguez as the principal speakers. At present, it is located at the Gintong Yaman ng Quezon Building, Capitol Compound, Lucena City. Historical in nature, this building was originally the provincial hospital erected in 1924 and later became the Quezon Provincial Preventorium in 1951. It is a two-story, 5,050 square foot building. Most of the library's collection is at the ground floor. The Gintong Yaman ng Quezon Museum, the province's depository of cultural, social, and religious artifacts, is housed at the second floor. The Quezon Provincial Library is divided into three major service functions: the reader services, e-library services, and technical services. Under the reader services, we have the circulation, children's, periodical, Filipiniana, and reference sections. We also have reading corners, including the Chinese Corner, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Knowledge Resource Network, God Corner in compliance with Executive Order Number 273, the Local History Collection, and the HWPL Peace Corner. E-library services is the area of the library that provides internet access to various information needs of the library patrons for free. We also have the DOST Starbooks, Techno-Aklatan, and the ITIL project. The technical services is concerned with the acquisition, organization, preparation, and preservation of materials. The museum was established on September 16, 1977 as a project of Balikatan sa Kaunlaran ng Lalawigan ng Quezon. It showcased diggings from the Bundok Peninsula of earthenware jars, household implements, antique jars, and relics of Spanish era like old santos and icons. The memorabilia of illustrious Quezonians on display are those of the late President Manuel L. Quezon, former Senator Lorenzo Tañada, and former Congressman Manuel S. Enverga. The library and museum is being managed by 14 staff comprised of 6 licensed librarians and 8 administrative support staff. Before the pandemic, we usually assist 80 to 100 clients per day. In 2019, a total of 24,519 clients were served. 48% are male, while 52% are female. Based on the total clients, 65% are students, 15% are senior citizens, 6% are employees, 5% are out-of-school youth, and the remaining 9% for other clients. To break down the statistics of students, 19% are pre-elementary, 21 and 25% are in the elementary and secondary levels respectively, 13% are senior high school students, 18% are college students, and 4% are postgraduate students. Who directly benefits from the library programs and services we provide, who's in the background, supporting our efforts, and cheering us at every step. Which individuals or groups share our passion for improving outcomes for youth and families. They are our partners, supporters, stakeholders, the children of all ages, the parents, our educational partners, youth organizations, basically all the members of the community. We would like to thank each department in the provincial government of Quezon, headed by our Governor Danilo E. Suarez, Vice Governor Samuel Nantes, and members of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan who are contributory supporters of our mission to provide free and easy access to information, ideas, books, and technology that enrich, educate, and empower every individual in our province. Our sincere appreciation to the municipalities and barangays province-wide, the Librarians Association of Quezon Province, Lucena Incorporated, the Provincial Federation of PWDs, Provincial Organization of Indigenous People, who are always hospitable, cooperative, and considerate with our programs and projects. To the philanthropic individuals and groups that devote their time, experience, material resources, and skills or talent to give way to our library beyond borders, thank you. Like other public libraries in the Philippines, the Quezon Provincial Library is funded by the local government unit, in our case, the Provincial Government of Quezon. For calendar year 2021, our total budget is 7,852,365 pesos. 7,006,733 pesos or 89.23% is allotted for personal services, including salaries, wages, and other employee benefits, while 845,632 pesos or 10.77% for maintenance and other operating expenses. This year, there is no allocation for capital outlay, which usually includes office equipment, furniture and fixtures, and ICT equipment. Budget issues remain the top challenge for libraries. The library is one of the agencies under the provincial government that has a minute share in its budget. Just like other agencies, COVID response programs and healthcare are the top priorities. To address this, we practice partnerships and collaboration with the Sena Calgary Baptist Church for our community engagement and outreach programs, and with the Department of Science and Technology, Science and Technology Information Institute or DOST STII for the online library literacy program during our 92nd founding anniversary celebration. We also had partnership with Mrs. Cherry Ann Laison for the book launching, signing, and donation of 100 copies of her self-published book, and the Purok leaders and coordinators of Purok Maganda in Gulang-Gulang, Lucena City for the Handog Aral sa Kabataan project. By the virtue of Proclamation number 969, signed by President Rodrigo Duterte on March 16, 2020, a state of emergency was declared throughout the Philippines due to COVID-19. An enhanced community quarantine was imposed in Luzon that resulted to closure of non-essential services, including libraries. Since libraries play a vital role in keeping the citizenry educated, connected, informed, and entertained, we are continuously finding ways to keep services going despite differing quarantine status and restrictions. Due to this, we introduce new services and innovations. Technology and internet have a huge impact on the delivery of library services. The rapid digitization of information has affected operations and systems changing in a very short span of time, resulting in gaps in skills needed to operate a digital library. By attending trainings and webinars, most of them for free, the library personnel were able to update their skills. The COVID-19 pandemic inspired us to be resilient, creative, and innovative. Here are the Quezon Provincial Library's innovations and new services.
During the first 2 weeks of the lockdown, the library personnel conducted strategic planning through virtual group discussions to make adjustments of the library services from actual to virtual. We conducted group talks and discussions of target activities, timeline, and execution. Through these, we were able to create Library Pathfinder for COVID-19 and other related topics. We also codified the Sanggunian Panglalawigan Resolution, wherein resolutions were indexed using the COHA Integrated Library Management System. We also converted printed storybooks to digital learning format, downloaded stories from online sources, and we were able to attend online trainings and webinars to update and develop personal and professional skills. We also maximized the use of social media of the library for education, information, and recreational use. The Quezon Provincial Library FB page also posted daily status of COVID-19 cases in Quezon Province, executive orders, memorandum circulars of local IATF on COVID-19 response, shared and live-streamed the provincial government's programs, projects, and activities in combating the disease, maintaining food security during the pandemic, and job opportunities for displaced workers. We also conducted summer activities for kids online, including storytelling, writing and reading tutorials, arts and crafts tutorials, and basic sign language. To get closer to the community, we launched our research information assistance by phone, email, text or chat, and through research appointment or consultation. We also harvested and shared more e-resources from reliable sources. We keep on updating and sharing e-resources on our official and social media accounts. Last August 19, during the celebration of Manuel L. Quezon Day, the provincial government of Quezon, through the Quezon Provincial Library and Museum, conducted a virtual museum tour hosted by our local historian, Carlos Villariba. This was live-streamed at Governor Danny Suarez FB page. During this pandemic, internet connectivity is a must, but we cannot deny the fact that most of our kababayans have limited or no access to internet. To widen our reach, we collaborated with Mr. Hamilton Villapando, Quezon Medalya ng Karangalan Awardee 2019 in the field of education. He is a partner for change, #para sa bata, #para sa bayan. Through this partnership and collaboration, we were able to distribute Pantawid ng Kaalaman booklets and worksheets in the different barangays in Lucena, Tayabas, and Pagbilao. We partnered with teachers and barangay workers, the reason why Pantawid ng Kaalaman reached the islands of Alabat and Bordeos during the ECQ. We also had partnerships with municipal libraries of Sariaya and Candelaria and Sangguniang Kabataan for wider coverage. Since kids are not allowed to go out, we distributed Pantawid ng Kaalaman to provincial government employees for their kids, nephews and nieces, as well as grandkids. Pantawid ng Kaalaman have booklets and worksheets for kids and teens dealing with different topics like mandala coloring activity and art therapy, family, friends, love for country, transportation, color by sight words, land animals, water animals, ulan, tubig, malinis na bata, among others. We also distributed Mother's Day and Father's Day booklets. Aside from Pantawid ng Kaalaman booklets, we also distributed storybooks, coloring and coloring activity materials, COVID comics, to raise awareness, encourage creativity, provide relaxation, art therapy, and lessen the stress and anxiety caused by COVID-19.
Regular reporting of performance output is ensured through bi-monthly and monthly submission of accomplishment reports. Accomplishments or progress of each activity is monitored. For easy dissemination of memos, instructions, and other important information, we created our group page and group chat. We conducted online meetings and limited face-to-face consultation for pressing matters. Private messages were directed to individuals or groups for specific instructions. We introduced online programs of the library including Historia at Trivia, our version of Today in History, and trivia on different topics. Mga kwentong pambata, our version of storytelling online. Flex a Book, the Quezon Provincial Library's version of online book review of literary classics. And Book-omentary, our version of book commentary or narration of available non-fiction books in the library. Discussion or explanation of the book and further reading suggestions are also provided. We also conducted online exhibit of Gintong Yaman ng Quezon Museum collections. This aims to bring our museum collection closer to a wider audience, safe at the comfort of their homes by using social media as platform for heritage appreciation. We also conducted on-site library programs including Feed a Child and Their Mind that aims to combat illiteracy and malnutrition, Handog Aral sa mga katutubo, and educational and recreational activities for indigenous people, and other community engagement and outreach programs following the health and safety protocols. We use different tools and technologies in order to create awareness, attract and improve clients' use of library resources and services. For the digital media, we have our library website. We conduct email services. Blogs and podcasts are on its finalization stage. Online advertising social networks such as Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Print materials including flyers, booklets, posters, or banners, and events including trainings, seminars and workshops, library orientation and user education, contests, and word of mouth. Don't forget to like and follow our official and social media accounts. All the programs, projects, and activities discussed are posted there. For our future plans, we will definitely support distance and blended learning. We will be launching additional library services via online or face-to-face. Librarians are visionary, creative, innovative, resourceful at May Malasakit. Expect that despite this pandemic, the Quezon Provincial Library will continuously provide relevant services in adherence to Sustainable Development Goals set by the United Nations to work together and to ensure that no one is left behind. Thank you, and God bless us all.
Deemed by Quezon locals as the festival of all festivals, Nyugyugan is a convergence of people coming from different parts of the Philippines and even from abroad. All taking part in celebrating this great province's continuous progress. Progress that comes from the exceptional relationship between the land and its people. The province of Quezon was originally named Caliraya or Calilayan during the Spanish era. It was later changed to Tayabas after its capital, and at the end of World War II, was named after former President Manuel L. Quezon. Quezon is a fraction of what is called Calabarzon, a region shared with its neighboring provinces, Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, and Rizal. With a land area of 8,926 square kilometers, it is the 8th largest province in the Philippines. Along with being nestled between rich sources of land nutrients and masses of water, Quezon is perfect for producing and cultivating coconut trees. 75% of the agricultural land of Quezon is allotted for coconut planting. It's no wonder that from its 39 municipalities and 2 cities, most of Quezon's 2 million citizens earn much of their income from coconuts. And with value of annual production amounting to millions of dollars, Quezon remains the leading source of coconuts and coconut-based products in the Philippines, and more notably, in Asia. As such, it seemed appropriate that in celebrating their achievements, the people of Quezon pay tribute to their chief natural resource, one that has provided for them through the years. Nyugyugan is an intermingling of the words nyug, which means coconut, and yugyug, or to move to a beat. From freshly harvested crops, traditional pastries and delicacies, handcrafted furniture and jewelries, and most particularly, an assortment of coconut produce.
Home to 80% of Catholics, churches were the first structures built. To name a few, Spanish-era houses like Lucban Church, built in 1595, the Basilica of St. Michael the Archangel in Tayabas in 1578, the St. Ferdinand Cathedral in Lucena, originally built in 1882, and the St. Francis of Assisi Church in Sariaya, first built in 1599. Divided into 4 blocks, it features a children's playground, cave-like bandstand, stone map of Quezon made of boulders, each representing a municipality, multicolored jet fountain, and the bronze monument of Manuel Quezon, which was inaugurated on August 19, 1955 by President Ramon Magsaysay. The Provincial Capitol building, originally built in 1908 as a 2-story American colonial type of structure with an American eagle on its facade, was later enlarged and expanded by Juan Marcos Arellano. Francesco Monti, a famous Italian artist, created the structure's accent statues, which represented the livelihood of the natives. Its American neoclassic design and Art Deco motifs gave the Capitol its distinct personality, a source of pride and a symbol of success. There is so much more to explore and experience in the province of Quezon. Its natural beauty from the quaint islands, rugged mountains, cascading waterfalls, and serene beaches. Its rich historical, cultural, and religious attractions. Its products, its people. A province blessed by nature and rich in culture.
Guys, gala naman tayo. Somewhere fun. Nature trip?
Do you guys really think there's paradise near Manila?
Tara! Cavite tayo!
Cavite?
Yes, Cavite.
First up, leisure parks.
Pakinggan mo ang iyong puso, patahimikin ang gulo. Sipatin mo kung saan tutungo, lugar na higit pa sa paraiso.
Mala Jurassic Park Adventure man o around the world tour in a single day, sagot na rin yan ng Cavite.
Yakapin ang buhay at saya. Tara sa Cavite, hanapin ang iyong ngiti, kilalanin ang iyong sarili, balikan ng ating pinagmulan. Tara Cavite tayo.
Siyempre hindi rin papuli ang Cavite pagdating sa nature tripping and beach hopping. Oh guys, busog na mata nyo? Chill lang! Dahil pagdating sa panlaman tiyan, ubusugin din namin kayo!
Kaping matapang. Yung kaya kang ipaglaban.
Braver coffee than your ex.
Sa Cavite, hanapin ang iyong ngiti.
But wait, there's more! Kung relaxing getaway at dream staycation naman ang trip nyo after a long but fulfilling day, Cavite na tayo! Pero ang pinakamahalagang dahilan kung bakit dapat natin bisitahin ang Cavite ay ang mga kwento ng kabayanihan at naiambag ng mga Caviteño sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas.
At saya. Tara, Cavite tayo. Tara, Cavite tayo. Tagumpay ng ating tahanan, walang katumbas na kayamanan. Taas noon, sabay-sabay, ang kalayaan ay iwagayway.
Now that's Cavite.
Cavite?
Tara! Cavite tayo!
Cavite, tabi ng iyong ngiti. Kilalanin mo ang iyong sarili. Balikan ng ating pinagmulan. Tara, Cavite tayo. Tara, Cavite tayo. Tara, Cavite tayo. Tara, Cavite tayo.
Welcome to the National Museum of Anthropology, one of the 4 buildings in the National Museum complex in Manila. The National Museum of Anthropology was built in the 1940s during the American colonial regime under architect Antonio Toledo of the Bureau of Public Works. It was inspired by the design of Daniel Burnham for Manila, which was based on the American concept of connecting key monuments and public buildings by a system of roads and rotundas. The Burnham Plan includes an extended park with views of Manila Bay and a government center. The building was barely finished when World War II began. The 3 buildings in the National Museum complex were not spared from the heavy bombing during the last days of the campaign to liberate Manila. The collections of the museum were damaged and burned from the wreckage. After the war, the building was rebuilt and occupied by the Department of Finance. Thus, it became known as the Finance Building.
In 1998, it was refurbished to house the archaeological and ethnographic collections of the National Museum of the Philippines in time for the centennial celebration of the Declaration of Philippine Independence. Named as the Museum of the Filipino People, it was opened to the public in June 1998. The exhibitions focused on cultural heritage, giving a deep sense of pride in our identity as Filipinos. It was renamed as the National Museum of Anthropology in 2016. The building was dedicated for the archaeological, maritime and underwater cultural heritage, and ethnographic collections. The ground floor houses the museum library, the offices of the research divisions, and the repository of the Maritime and Underwater Cultural Heritage Division. In the courtyard is a traditional Ifugao house from the municipality of Mayaoyao in the province of Ifugao. The exhibitions are located on the second, third, and fourth floors. The fifth floor serves as the repository of the National Ethnographic Collection and the shared laboratory of the three research divisions. The main entrance of the National Museum of Anthropology is the Marble Hall facing the Agrifina, or the Agriculture and Finance Circle. It serves as an orientation area for viewers and a function hall for special events and occasions. The building has 15 permanent exhibitions. Starting at the second level is the Palayok Gallery. Palayok, the ceramic heritage of the Philippines, presents the ceramic tradition of the Philippine Islands from the earliest appearance of pottery in the Neolithic period or New Stone Age to modern or contemporary times. It features the range of ceramics recovered from different archaeological sites in Batanes, the northernmost island in Luzon, to Sarangani in Mindanao. It highlights the craftsmanship of early communities and the significant role of ceramics in our culture. Among the significant collections showcased in the exhibition are three ceramics declared as national cultural treasures: the quadrangular burial jar from Maitum in Sarangani, the blue and white plate with flying elephant design from Lena Shoal shipwreck site in Palawan, and the Celadon light green blaze jar from Marinduque. These also represent the three common types of ceramics comprised of earthenware, stoneware, and porcelain found in archaeological sites. These ceramics vary in the type of clay used and basically in the firing temperature. Earthenware is fired at about 800 degrees Celsius to 1200 degrees Celsius, stoneware between 1200 degrees Celsius to 1400 degrees Celsius, and porcelain above 1400 degrees Celsius. Still on the second level is the Treasures of San Diego, an evidence of the Manila galleon trade during the 16th century Common Era. The San Diego was originally used for trade from the Philippines to Acapulco in Mexico and vice versa. It was converted into a warship against the Dutch naval fleet. Unfortunately, it sank near Fortune Island in Nasugbu, Batangas on December 14, 1600, after a naval engagement with Mauritius, the Dutch flagship. Among the reasons for the misfortune of the San Diego is attributed to the lack of experience in maritime affairs of its captain, Lieutenant General Antonio de Morga, and the overloaded cargo. The ship could only accommodate 700 tons, but it was loaded with 1,500 tons when it was converted into a battleship. More than 35,000 large and small objects were recovered from the wreck in 1992 and 1993, including more than 800 jars and over 5,000 Chinese blue and white ceramics. The gold seal of Antonio de Morga, which was recovered from the site, authenticated the identity of San Diego. This was recorded in his book, Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, or Historical Events of the Philippine Islands, published in 1609 and annotated by Dr. Jose Rizal. The Manlilikha ng Bayan or National Living Treasures Hall honors the 16 Filipinos who were conferred the Gawad sa Manlilikha ng Bayan from 1993 to 2016 by presenting their masterpieces. The work of the Manlilikha ng Bayan is presumed to be an important cultural property, second to the National Cultural Treasure, the highest category of cultural property. A Manlilikha ng Bayan has the responsibility to transmit their skills to the younger generation and to donate a couple of them to the National Museum of the Philippines. This exhibition was made possible through the collaboration among the Gawad sa Manlilikha ng Bayan Executive Committee of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, Office of Deputy Speaker and Representative Lauren Legarda, and the National Museum of the Philippines. Faith, Tradition, and Place, Bangsamoro Art from the National Ethnographic Collection. The exhibition is a visual exploration of the rich cultural heritage of the Islamic groups in the southern Philippines and how they are interconnected within the context of Islamic and Southeast Asian traditions. It features the material cultures of the region, known for their ornate decorations and ornaments in various social, economic, political, and ritual contexts. Bangsamoro is derived from the term bangsa, which means nation, and Moro as a Spanish appellation to all Muslims in southern Philippines. Lumad Mindanao features the material cultures of the 13 Lumad groups represented in the National Ethnographic Collection. It explores the significance of Mindanao natural reserves and resources to Lumad identity, as well as their experiences and established ties with neighboring groups, specifically the Muslims, through the years. Lumad is a Visayan term which means born from the earth. They are non-Muslim groups in southern Philippines who nurture and are nurtured by Mindanao's rich natural and cultural heritage as manifested in their traditions and practices. The archaeological treasures or Kabanang Lahi showcases the secondary burial vessels such as burial jars, limestone urns, wooden coffins, and associated grave goods recovered from different cave sites in the Philippines. Secondary burial practice involves the reburial of skeletal remains with corresponding ritual. The exhibition highlights some of the declared national cultural treasures of the Philippines, such as the complete anthropomorphic jar recovered from Ayub Cave in Maitum, Sarangani, the famous Manunggo jar from Lipuan Point in Quezon, Palawan, and the Leta Leta jarlet from El Nido, also in Palawan. The Manunggo jar depicts the earliest evidence of ancient Filipino belief in the afterlife as represented by the two prominent figures on the top cover, while the Leta Leta jarlet is probably an example of offering during rituals. BI, Tradition, Ecology, and Knowledge among the Philippine Negrito Communities. BI is an Aita term for life. This gallery features the National Ethnographic Collection gathered from the Negrito communities in eastern and central Luzon, Palawan, Panay Island in the Visayas, and Mamanwa in Mindanao from 1903 to present. The exhibition provides an overview of the previous studies and documentation by early ethnographers and Filipino researchers on the Negrito groups. It presents their direct and deep connections with nature as reflected in their material culture and shows their current situation amidst the degradation and annual thinning of their home, the rainforest. This gallery highlights a skull cap retrieved in the 1960s during an archaeological excavation in Tabon Cave in Quezon, Palawan. It is the earliest skull cap of a modern human found in the Philippines. Another highlight is the fossilized right tibia, which was also collected from the Tabon Cave in 2000. It is one of the earliest human remains found in the Philippines. Now, it is believed that the oldest evidence, which dates to 67,000 years ago, was discovered at Calao Cave in Cagayan. On the fourth floor are the thematic exhibitions
Ganyan, o ano yung sounds mo?
baskets and mats as containers, conveyors, and costumes. The exhibition acknowledges and honors local basket, mat, and hat weavers in the different regions of the country. It highlights the significance of baskets and mats as part of both tangible and intangible Filipino cultural heritage through the different materials, techniques, and designs as entwined in their functions, as accessories and costumes, as containers of both secular and sacred objects, and as conveyors in fishing, agriculture, as well as in most daily activities. Baybayin. This exhibition features and promotes the awareness of the early writing systems used by ancient Filipinos as demonstrated from the earliest artifacts such as the Laguna copper plate, the Calatagan pot, and the Montreal stones to archival materials like legal documents and published books during the Spanish colonial era and the ethnographic objects used by the indigenous communities in Mindoro and Palawan. Baybayin is also used in millenarian movements in their amulets and talismans and as body adornments or tattoos to mark Filipino identity among the youth both in the Philippines and abroad. Government agencies and universities have also incorporated baybayin in their logos. Baybayin comes from the root word baybay, meaning to spell. It consists of 17 characters or alphasyllabic symbols of 3 vowels and 14 consonants, but when combined with the vowel modifying marks called kudlits, the characters increase to 45. In the 16th century, baybayin was widely used by the coastal groups of Tagalog, Bisaya, Iloco, Pangasinan, Bicol, and Pampanga. This was eventually replaced by the Roman alphabet but retained in the islands of Mindoro, Buhid-Mangyan, Hanuno-Mangyan, and Palawan, Palawan, and Tagluanwa until today. Hibla ng Lahing Filipino, the artistry of Philippine textiles. This gallery showcases the traditional textiles produced by various indigenous and cultural communities in the Philippines. It is remarkably interesting to know how these textiles were made, the materials used for the fibers, and the technologies used in weaving the fabrics. On display are samples of clothing ensemble indicating the various functions of the textiles. The gallery displays a death blanket called kinutian, used by the highest members of the Ifugao community known as the Kadangyan, and the Banton burial cloth fragment, the oldest known textile in the Philippines, recovered from Banton Island in the province of Romblon. Rice, Biodiversity, and Climate Change exhibition. This features collections on rice from the National Museum and the Philippine Rice Research Institute and evokes rice's significance in the Filipino culture in terms of science, traditional knowledge systems, and heritage. It also aims to support the country's continuing campaign to be self-reliant on rice through responsible rice consumption. One section features the collection of bulul from the province of Ifugao, which are used in ceremonies associated with rice production. The gallery also features material cultures associated with rice cultivation and consumption from different ethno-linguistic groups such as agricultural tools, baskets used in crop care and maintenance, rice measure, harvesting knife, rice wine jar, mortar, and winnowing trays. The last gallery on the fourth floor is the reception room, which is used for changing or temporary exhibitions. It also serves as a lecture or function room. On exhibit from May 2021 to January 2022 is Tabawan, the island of pre-Islamic rituals and traditional practices in Tawi-Tawi. The photo exhibition features 57 photographs taken by Paul Cambao in Tabawan Island in Tawi-Tawi, documenting 7 rituals that mark the cycle of life of the Sama Tabawan people. These are paggunting, pagtubas, pagkawin, paybahao, pagdawata, pagjamu bohe dea, and pagkamboan. The elements in the rituals highlight the combination of indigenous shamanic practices with Islamic beliefs, proving the confluence of cultures in the island as a result of centuries of contact with peoples from neighboring countries through trade, alliances, religious evangelization, among others. On your next trip or vacation to the Philippines, include in your itinerary a day or two to visit the National Museum Complex in Manila. You may also check out the other 16 regional, area, and site museums from Batanes to Jolo.
That was an amazing and mind-blowing virtual tour from the ASEAN foreign countries to the Philippines. I hope that you enjoyed and learned from all those audiovisual presentations, even though we only see it in front of our computers. The Philippine organizers and the participants will be very happy to welcome you again in the future, and hopefully physically without any pandemic. As we say thank you to all our participating country libraries and partners for this virtual tour, please allow me to read the citation for the Certificate of Appreciation to our participant libraries and agencies. The National Library of the Philippines, in partnership with the ASEAN Public Libraries Information Network, APLIN, and in collaboration with the Philippine Librarians Association Incorporated, or PLI, and the Librarians Association of Malaysia, LAM, and the Asia Foundation, present this Certificate of Appreciation to the name of the library and the local agency for its invaluable contribution as one of the participating institutions during the virtual library tour and cultural presentation in the first ASEAN Virtual Regional Conference of Public Librarians, with a theme, ASEAN Libraries, Arts and Culture, Inspire, Innovate, and Collaborate, given this 23rd day of August 2021 via Zoom. Signed by the Director of the National Library of the Philippines, Cesar Gilbert Q. Adriano, and the President of APLIN, Juan Maslibin Juan Razali. Here are the following institutions who will be receiving the Certificate of Appreciation who joined our virtual tour. From the ASEAN Libraries, Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka Brunei, Laos National Library, the National Library of Thailand, the Intensity Community Center, Myanmar, and from the participating local libraries from the Philippines, Ilocos Norte Provincial Library, La Union Provincial Library, Laguna Provincial Library, Quezon City Public Library, Quezon Provincial Library, and lastly but not the least, the Tagum City Library, and some other participating local agencies from the National Museum of the Philippines and from the Cavite Provincial Tourism and Cultural Affairs Office, Province of Cavite. Thank you very much once again to all our participating libraries and local agencies who joined us for our library and cultural virtual tour. Together, please give a virtual clap to our participating libraries and agencies. Thank you very much once again to everyone. Before we end our morning session for this ASEAN Virtual Regional Conference of Public Librarians, we have here some reminders to our participants. We encourage everyone to please stay on this Zoom room so that you don't have any inconvenience returning to the virtual room. At the same time, we encourage our Facebook and YouTube participating participants or participating librarians around the ASEAN to please join us to our Zoom virtual room. So please check your email and then check those link in accessing and going inside the Zoom virtual room. And at the same time, we would like to remind everyone to please don't forget to fill out the attendance form for this morning session and be back at 12:45 p.m. for the registration as we formally open the ASEAN Virtual Regional Conference of Public Librarians. Once again, I'm your moderator for this virtual library and cultural tour. I'm Kevin Conrad Ethan Shonko. And I say goodbye for now and see you later. Thank you very much.